Welcome to the Central Illinois Business Leaders Podcast, where business owners, thought leaders, and community champions from across Central Illinois come to share their story. The Central Illinois Business Leaders Podcast. Anything less would be uncivilized.
What's up, Central Illinois? My name is Derek Hayden. I'm here with Garrett Ulmer. We are your hosts for the Central Illinois Business Leaders Podcast. Before we kick it off with today's guest, I want to let you all know that we do record our interviews by video. You can find those on YouTube. We'll also share those videos on Facebook and LinkedIn. So let's go ahead and get to know today's guest. Today's guest graduated from Eastern Illinois University in 2007 with a business degree. He's been farming with his cousin since 2009. He owns 18 Feet Farms, where he raises turkeys for Purdue. He owns a retail ag facility in Kansas, Illinois, named 18 Feet Ag Services, LLC. He's a licensed insurance agent and auctioneer in the state of Illinois. He is the president of the Newton Athletic Booster Club. He and his fiancee, Larissa, live in Newton with their 7 children. He is also the mayor of the great town of Newton, home of the Eagles, I believe. So, Central Illinois, please welcome to the show, Mr. Josh Kuhl. How are you doing, Josh?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Derek. How are you?
Doing very well. Thanks for coming on the show. We'll go ahead and kick it over to Garrett and to get to know you a little bit better.
Well, I tell you what, that's quite a list of accomplishments for an individual that's under 40. So congratulations, Josh. That's awesome, man.
It's a battle every day, but I enjoy it. So
wouldn't want to do it any other way, right?
Nope.
Well, I tell you what, we normally kick this off. We'll ask you 6 questions in under 60 seconds, just basic questions, so our listeners and viewers can get a little bit of a better understanding and feel for who you are, okay?
Sounds good.
All right. So if you're ready, we'll go ahead and kick it off. What's the first concert that you ever attended?
Oh, man. Sammy Kershaw in Newton, Illinois, when he came to Newton, Illinois. I think I did that. The one-hit wonder, Watermelon Crawl, Sammy Kershaw.
That's awesome. Didn't he sing Vidalia?
High school gymnasium. Probably about 1996.
I remember that.
That's awesome.
Was it for the Strawberry Fest or something?
I don't remember the last, singer that ever came to our town. That's it.
Your favorite movie?
Pursuit of Happiness.
All right. Favorite ice cream flavor?
Butter pecan.
iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
Favorite social media platform?
None of them.
Oh, and last one is why Central Illinois?
Oh, man. Mainly born and raised, really never left. Like I said, like Derek said in my intro, went to school at Eastern Illinois University, but I can honestly say that I truly never moved away from home. I did live up in Charleston for 4 years, but I was home every weekend, back to Newton, and any days that I didn't have classes, I was always there. It's tough to get away from your roots. All my family's there. It's a great place to raise a family. Yep. All together. And once you establish those roots, it's really hard to ever go away from them. So.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Understand and agree with that, man.
Yep, for sure. Well, Josh, you've got a pretty long story for a dude that's under 40. So what we'd like to do is get to know how you got to where you are now. Tell us a little bit about where you came from. Obviously, if you're born and raised in Newton, tell us about your childhood. Give us a 2 to 4 minute breakdown of where you got to, or how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, it's a long story, but it's short at the same time. So growing up, I had no idea what I wanted to do. And I could be the first one to tell you right now that I still have truly no idea what I want to do for a career. But had no intentions of going to college after high school. Really didn't get that farming bug until probably my senior year of high school, and just had that dead set in my mind. But was pretty much told that I would go to college. So I think classes started the 3rd week of August. I'm pretty sure I signed up for classes the 1st week of August. So I was a late bloomer going to college. funny story. It was actually for a kid that wasn't going to college. Got there and was pre-dentistry major for 2 years. So I took 2 full years of nothing but math, chemistry, and biology, and realized real fast that I didn't want a job where I was going to sit inside all day. So I switched, became a business major, obviously graduated. At the same time, I started working for there was a seed company called Crow's Hybrids then, and I actually started working selling seed for them while I was still in college. Did that for about 2 years, and then virtually got more in depth, I guess, on the farming side. Our operation really started to grow. And then at that time, I took a job with DuPont Pioneer as a regional or a district sales manager for them. Stayed with them for about 10. In the meantime, I had purchased some hog barns from a local guy, got them up and going, did that for quite a while, and then had the opportunity to sell those to a hired man that was working for me. It was a great opportunity for him and his family. There was a house there, moving into a better school district for his kids. So it all aligned. So I sold those, then quickly rolled right into these turkey barns. We had been buying some litter from a local guy for quite a while for our grain operation, and decided that maybe just go ahead and own the litter as well. One of those, you make a quick decision for a lasting effect that you probably don't realize what all it entails before you do it. So, and at the time, back up a little bit, I had an interest in insurance, mainly on the crop insurance side. So I studied for 2 weekends, did my P&C and then my L&H, and took those tests and passed them. I've been licensed with insurance since about 2008, I think, here in the state of Illinois. And then we'll fast forward back again to where we're at today, but had a great opportunity up here in Kansas, Illinois to purchase this business. That was, it was already established, but the customer base wasn't here. We've been here since December and can honestly say that we're truly blessed with where we're at and the opportunity that's been given to us here. Customers have been very receptive and open. We're trying some different things that our competitors don't do, and it's paid off for us. We were absolutely killing it in this part of the world, and I can't wait to see that thing grow. I would really like to get something closer to home and maybe a couple of locations throughout the state. But the long and short of it is that I just have a lot of drive and desire to always be better. I'm not afraid to fail. That's one thing, I guess, that I can honestly say that I'm strong-willed, that take a chance, and knowing that if you do fail, that you're still going to wake up the next day. You may not have any money in your pocket, but by golly, they didn't take your life away. So just keep digging and diving. At the same time, I guess I want more than what I had growing up. And I can't say that I was, not well taken care of by my parents, but at the same time, we didn't have it all. And I don't know, I look at life and then the understanding of, I don't ever want to be laying on my deathbed and sit there and wonder, man, I wish I would have tried that, or I wish I would have took that opportunity. So just stay busy. I don't have any hobbies other than work. And that's what I really enjoy at the end of the day. You can ask my fiance, Larissa, that's probably one of my biggest downfalls is I just work and I eat it up and I love it. So.
No, well, there's got to be a ton of drive there for what you've taken on at your age and what you've accomplished. I mean, there's got to be a deep, deep sense of wanting to accomplish it. And like you said, if you're not scared to take a jump, then that's awesome. Just because you've got that will, the drive to succeed, and that's what it takes most of the time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That long piece of paper for when you ever do die, that the obituary will be so long about all the things that you had a hand in while you were there that people will get sick of reading it and just flip the page and just say, yeah, I guess I did know that guy.
There you go. You should take up as much ink as you can. There you go.
That's right.
One of the things you said was being in a nursing home or on your deathbed and thinking about things that you didn't do. And I follow Gary Vee and listen to quite a few things that he says. And I don't know if you know who Gary Vee is, but he's a motivational individual. And he always says that if you want to go somewhere to find out what someone actually truly has to feel and what they think about their life, go to a nursing home and ask. And he's like, when you talk to those individuals, most of them are all going to say they wish they had done that. They wish they had done this. And he's like, so do it while you can, because most of the individuals in the nursing home are going to just say exactly what you did. Take the jump and make the leap.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep.
That's for sure.
My grandpa Kuhl, he's still alive. He's 88 years old. He hasn't probably farmed in, it's probably been 15 years now. But at one time, he was pretty large operation for his part of the world, and he let a lot of it go. And I always ask him, man, if you still had all that, we could still be one of those bigger operations. And it just got too much work for him, and I understand, and not everybody's mentality is the same.
Yep.
And I get completely overwhelmed and stressed to the max, probably 6 out of the 7 days every week. But it's that adrenaline, I guess, and that rush of having virtually your back against the wall and trying to figure it out and just keep grinding, digging it out and figuring it out. So it's a ride.
Yeah.
So you've got your hand in a few different things then, it sounds like, Josh. So as you're growing your businesses, as you're jumping into different endeavors, becoming the mayor of Newton, what are some of the hurdles that you've had to face? And what, I guess you've probably faced several hurdles, but the ones that stick out in your mind, and how have you been able to overcome those hurdles?
I'd say the biggest hurdles is that I think we all have a thought in our brain of how things are going to go and how we want them to go, and how you want to succeed just so quickly. And just the biggest takeaway from that is just understanding that it doesn't happen overnight. You can't just walk in the door and just completely change something by the snap of your fingers and know that you succeeded. It takes time. It takes a lot of, chips up. If you're walking down a sidewalk and there's a big chunk missing, you literally have to stop, form it up, pour the concrete, smooth it out, and just repair and keep going. And it's just a path. I have a tattoo on my shoulder, and it's a mountain scene, and it's got a path going up through the mountains, and then there's a silhouette of a man, and it just understanding that life is 100% an uphill climb every day. But to fully answer your question, Derek, is truly just like I said, understanding that you're not going to change things overnight. It does take time, and you'll always continue to do that. The other part is just truly having a great support system around you. I'm blessed with what I have at home. I'll say that every time. I mean, Larissa's something else, because I could come up with more ideas and new brainstorms and businesses and throw them at her and things that I want to try. And she never says no. She's like, let's do it. And as crazy as it sounds, and she's probably thinking in the back of their head, what the heck is he thinking? She never says that. She's always all in. So, I mean, it's crazy. We had some extra acreage there at the turkey barns, and we started growing some sweet corn last year and put the kids to selling it. And we couldn't grow enough. You know what I mean? Just things like that just you think in your mind, because there's so many other people that do it, but there's still a need for it.
Yeah.
If you're willing, like I said, if you're willing to put in the time, you can make $1. That's for darn sure in today's world.
Yeah. Well, what a great work ethic to teach the kids.
Yeah, we're trying. Yeah, some of them are a little less like their father than the others, but maybe they'll get there.
Oh, shoot. That's great. So with your hand in so many different, pots and so many irons in the fire, one of the main questions I wanted to ask is, to become mayor of Newton, without getting too political into it, what was the main reason behind you saying, you know what, I'm ready to try to take a chance and add this to the pile? What made you decide to run?
I mean, not even bringing politics into the picture was just, there's a lot of things that personal opinion, again, that I may have a different thought on than someone else, and vice versa. And that's the great thing about life, is we're all entitled to our own opinion. But I could sit there and complain about things continuously, or I could try to be part of the solution. And that's really what it came down to is that we do have a great community, but at the same time, man, it's dwindling fast. We have no, infrastructure, no jobs, no nothing, to keep people local. And it goes back to, I guess, my kids and my friends' kids and people that you see in the community is how do you give them an opportunity for them children to move back home and raise their family the same way that we did. And we don't have that. So striving towards that, trimming up some things, you quickly realize that you'll never be everyone's friend, and you don't have to be. Man, I don't know what it is. I think it's when you turn 30, you just quickly realize that you're not going to please everybody, and it really doesn't matter if you do or you don't. So, kind of pushing through those barriers, helping clean things up, and just putting yourself out there to see if you can do something. And at the end of the day, it's not about, by any means, not about having my name on a piece of paper or my name on a building or we created this. It's the city of Newton did it, the community did it together. And that was a big thing that I talked about as I ran, during the election was, this is our community and I want everybody's input and to do things. So the city council meetings look a lot different now than what they had in the past. We have a lot of discussion. We talk about a lot of things before we actually vote on it, instead of just putting it on the agenda that we're going to vote on this and we're going to roll out. City council meeting will be done in 30 minutes. We've had some 1.5 hour long council meetings, and we've had some 3 hour long council meetings, but we've had good discussion. And I hope that transparency has been there and people kind of understand where our heads are at and what we're after. So.
Well, that's awesome. One of the things my dad always told me when I was young, you can't complain about something if you're not willing to jump in and help.
Absolutely.
And man, that's about as true a statement as you get. And you start to realize that stuff as you get older. Don't complain unless you're willing to help,
Exactly right.
It's hard not to do sometimes, but
that's why we should all be officials.
Oh man.
By the way, there is a shortage. If you guys want to get a 3-man crew together sometime this winter, I might be able to squeeze in a little bit of time.
Yeah.
I can
You're
toss some
braver
guys
than
out.
Yeah. That I can remember some of my reactions in crowds. So I don't know that is one thing I could endure. I'd have to toughen myself up a little bit for that, because
no,
those poor guys do take a beating, and most of them today are taking it even harder than what they used to. So
I don't take the chewings very well anymore now that I'm getting older. So I probably wouldn't last either. And for the record, I'm legally blind in my right eye, so they would be able to say that whatever they said would be true. So probably ought to not start in on that side of it.
That's hilarious.
That's an idea, at least.
Yeah.
So tell us about your turkey operation. So was it 18 Feet Farms? Is that what the name of it was?
Yeah. So obviously, I'm sure a lot of people will wonder where the name came from.
Yes.
Introduction, 7 kids, and then obviously Larissa and I. So you take 9 times 2 and you get 18. That's where the name came from.
Makes sense.
It takes all of us to really get everything done that we have going on. And like I said before, blessed with a good support system all the way around. So the turkey operation, so virtually exactly like it sounds. So we get them virtually the day they're hatched. They bring them in 10,000 birds at a time. We house them in what we call a brooder building for 6 weeks, get them up to a little bit of size, and then we move them over to a larger building where they'll stay for an additional, you're going to make me do some math here, 12 weeks, So 18 until they're virtually to maturity, and then they are hauled off to Washington, Indiana, where they're then prepped and could be bought. The nice thing about Purdue is they have contracts with Panera, Jimmy John's now, a lot of Subways. You're seeing market fresh stuff on Arby's, and then also at the grocery store. Purdue's pretty good about, we're 100% antibiotic free, so we give no medication at any time. The big push has been over the last few years is that farm to table. So if you ever buy any Purdue meat, if you would scan the QR code, it'll actually bring up a picture of the actual farm and the people that raised that meat. So you can see,
Wow.
there's and it has a little backstory about that operation. So it's it's a good family company. They're a national company, but locally for us, a lot of stuff is based out of Washington, Indiana, and also Vincennes, Indiana, so just on the other side of the river for us. But it's time consuming, really is. Birds are very delicate, and they're definitely not the smartest animal that I've ever been around. So it's something different every day. I will say that. So, but
That's awesome.
We've got a hired guy that works for us down there. He does an excellent job. Couldn't say a bad thing about him, and the way that he helps us out is tremendous. So,
very cool. How do you keep track of all these businesses? Is it mainly you, or is it you and your fiance? Or obviously you said you got a hired guy, but
yeah,
man,
no,
I don't know.
Your cell phone's your greatest thing. Not gonna lie, it rings constantly. Larissa and I just had this conversation 2 nights ago. Yeah, she's actually, I think it was yesterday evening. She said, even when you're home, you don't ever check out. She's like, people are calling you, you're talking, you're taking care of things. So, man, logistics is a lot of it, and just balancing everything out and building that schedule, knowing what you got to get done. Early mornings, late nights, weekends. It's 7 days a week. Just keep getting it done. I don't know what else to say. I mean, like I said, it's a grind, but you figure out a way to get it taken care of. And, I've got a goal that I set probably 10 years ago that I wanted to just absolutely kill it until I was 45. And then I want to just coast. And I doubt I'm going to make it. I like to, I love to make money, but I truly like to spend it as well. I'm a firm believer that you can't take it with you type of thing. So enjoy it while we're here. But at the same time, I'm probably going to get to the point here pretty soon where I'm going to let go of a few things, because the success of a couple of the others has given that ability for us to do that. And, Larissa's got a full-time job too. She's a seed coordinator for Novus Ag. So she covers virtually all Southern Illinois. So she stays very busy. The kids are getting older, more active into things. We've got JFL season coming up here, in about a month. So it's just, as the kids get older, you start to lose that will to be busy all the time, because you want to be involved and be able to participate in those things and truly support them. So, but I can't say enough about where we're at and where we're going, but at the same time, I don't want to do it forever.
Yeah.
I hear you. I
want to get a hobby one of these days.
You could be a podcast host. That's what Garrett and I do.
Yeah. that was one of those.
Back to the 3-man crew. Here we go again.
Yeah, there you go.
Balancing ideas. He walks over and says, "Hey, we're going to start a podcast." I'm like, "Oh, we are. Okay, let's roll."
Here we are, man.
Sounds like
here
me and
it is.
Larissa. So
yeah, exactly.
we're going to build a greenhouse and start growing vegetables commercially.
We'll be customers.
So then you go buy a greenhouse and it's still sitting where it was. So yeah. Down the road.
It's a project.
You had mentioned earlier in the show with your ag business over in Kansas that you guys do things, you're doing some things differently than most others in the business to attract, new clients. And can you tell us a little bit about that? Derek and I talk a lot about, it's kind of like insurance. A lot of guys do the same thing, but how can you stand out and be different amongst the crowd? So what are you trying to do to attract new business that way?
So there's a couple of things there. We've got our competition's good. I don't want to say that. We've got a competitor that's an eighth of a mile down the road. We've got one in the next town over. We've got one north of us. We've got one south of us, and we've got one to the west. So we're completely surrounded. The one thing that we have that they don't is we've got a couple of high clearance machines, application spray machines, some Hagees front booms that's able to go over tasseled corn. So we're able to virtually apply the fungicide ourselves, where competitors are using airplanes, helicopters.
Mm-hmm.
With those machines, with our ground rig machines, we can run 20 gallons the acre, so we can get better coverage with our products, and at the same time that the airplanes and helicopters are putting on about 2 gallons of the acre. When it comes to tassel time, it's a pretty crucial point in the growth stage of corn. And then when you're coming to pod set on soybeans, another optimum time. So when you're sitting on hundreds of thousands of dollars for these guys in a crop, protection is the key. And that fungicide and insecticide program with some nutritionals that we're putting in is that protection. It's also kind of like your guys', it's an insurance policy. As disease moves in, are we protected? The other part of that is we're seeing some yield increases, and the industry has for quite a few years on the fungicide lineup, but it's a no-brainer anymore. So we're really pushing that. Some of the other things we're doing, not having, I've been in seed for 16 years in my career. Is virtually that's all I was ever in was seed on the ag side outside of farming and raising turkeys. And those seed guys, they own the relationship in the countryside. When you talk to farmers, their seed guy is their guy. He knows everything about their operation. He talks to them. So, we took that opportunity. We went out and, we went after some of our local seed guys and asked them if they would like to couple their business with some of our crop protection. And we've had some good uptake in that. And those guys they're killing it out of the park. I mean, it truly did come full circle. I mean, like I said, they have those relationships, and now they're able to couple more of that acre together with their business. That's been some success for us. The other part of that is COVID. It really did hurt every industry as you look at every market. But ag took one on the chin this year. A lot of stuff is product mixtures, active ingredients and those type of things that may come from other countries and across the world, shipped in, trucked in. I mean, how the world's working right now. Everything's tight. So there's a lot of things that we couldn't get, a lot of things that were completely on back order, a lot of things that we may never see that we've had on order. And then there was some piles of stuff, but we've put ourselves in a great position early and secured a lot of that stuff. And we were able to get products that some people around us weren't. So that put us on some farms that we never would have got on and unless we did our due diligence and worked our tails off to find that. And that goes back to, that core group that we've got, not only within our business, but the retailer or the distributors that we work with, they're top notch. And they've really helped us out and carried them. I spent a lot of time on the phone, email with those, and they work their tails off to get us product and get it secured and get it to us. So it's a big circle. You do a lot of sales trainings when you're in corporate America, and you kind of laugh about them, but there's those little tidbits that you do take away. And the one that always stuck with me is circle of influence, and everybody's got one. If you're human, you got a circle of influence. You've got people that you go to ask questions, and I don't care if it's a medical question and that person's not a doctor, you feel comfortable asking that question. And, being in that circle of influence for a lot of people, and then also having our own circle of influence of people that we deal with. And that's been tremendous. And that goes for everything that we do, not only with the 18 feed ag services, but at home, at the turkey barns, at the farm, and everyday life. Just having a core group around you of people that can help. And debrief. That's what I always call the end of the day is a debriefing, and everybody debriefs differently. But I love this time of year, and my back porch is it's either my back or my front, depends on if the breeze is blowing or not. It's humid out, but that's my time to really reflect on what I got done that day, what needs done tomorrow, what got added to the plate, where we're at with everything. Sit down with Larissa, sit down with the kids and have those conversations. But at the same time, kind of reflect and internally thank the people. I probably don't say it enough. The credit goes to everybody around me in my circle of influence that really does get it done every day. I feel like most days I'm more of a headache to them than I am good, because I just keep putting more and more on them. But like I said, going back to that internal, just that sigh at the end of the day where you just take that deep breath and you push everything out, but then you just reflect and think where you're at, thankful for people around you and what they do to help you, and you're just blessed. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yep, that's great. Garrett and I talk about that all the time, having the right people around you to support your goals and really just support your life. So that's something that we take seriously.
I mean, that you said it perfectly. I mean, you got to find your person, and it's real easy to see and the way that you change your mentality and your smile and just the way you handle yourself. But when you find your person and you click and you can bounce things and your support system, all that, it all clicks on all cylinders. And you asked me earlier, favorite movie, and I told you The Pursuit of Happiness. It's one part in that movie, and it's when him and Will Smith and his son are playing basketball, and he shoots it and gets kind of frustrated, and his dad said, you'll never make it. And then the kid gets mad again, and then finally goes back to that scene again. He says, don't let anybody ever tell you can't do something. And that right there that's all it is. I mean, people will constantly tell you that'll never work. People will constantly tell you you're never going to make it. I mean, there's going to be negativity. There's going to be jealousy. We have it. It's human nature, but look for that and use that as a driver to just continue to kick ass and
No, that's awesome. Derek and I had a guest on a few weeks ago, and I think my favorite quote, and I think that he enjoys it as well, is they don't say I can't. One thing that him or his wife say in their business is I can't. They say, how can I?
Absolutely.
So, and man, that in the last month, I use that all the time. Anytime I think I can't do something, I just say, how can I? And it's amazing how your mood changes and everything else around you shifts when you change your mentality on I can't.
Absolutely. And it goes back to, I mean, I know your age, Garrett, Derek, I'm sorry I don't know yours, but unfortunately we're all millennials, and it seems like that's a bad word anymore, but and the way that we look at it and talk about millennials and everything else, but they say we have no social skills, that we're the most unsocial generation there is. We're not. We're more social than any other age group, generation, that's ever came, because we do have technology at our fingertips. We are constantly in contact with people, whether it is face-to-face or through email or text or phone or social media. The other part of that is that we're the largest entrepreneurial generation that there is. And there is such a big push for that. And unfortunately, the generations before us killed corporate America so bad and put so many levels into that it ruined us all, because we always wanted to be the next level above us in our current position, but it didn't gain us anything. And you constantly were sitting there trying to justify your position by creating work that didn't need to exist. But as an entrepreneur, you can obtain anything that you want to obtain. You can make as much money as you want to make. You can work as hard as you want. You can bring your family into that. And that's what the University of Illinois Extension put on they had a meeting or a program, I guess, and we went to it a couple of weeks ago down at Newton. And there was probably 30 to 40 people there, not as many as I'd like to see, but that lady was spot on with the data and just the drive and the things the interest levels that are there for people. But, I got completely off track, Garrett, but how can we type of thing is just that. It's the new millennial attitude that we can. I mean, there's nothing truly at the end of the day, if you have the will and desire, there's nothing that can stop you. There's going to be all kinds of roadblocks and everything in between, but man, there's so many ways to get around them anymore.
Yep.
That's for sure. So all you listeners out there, if you're sitting still, you better get off the road, because Josh Kuhl's coming to run you over.
If you drive, you probably understand it's true.
That's right.
Well, Josh, hey, we're getting close to time here. Before we get off, how can our listeners reach out to you and contact you? Phone number, email, what's best for you?
A little bit of everything. So my phone number is 618-707-8288. Unfortunately, you can find me on Facebook. It is the way of the world anymore, but So personally, I'm on there. It's Joshua Kuhl instead of just Josh. 18 Feet Ag Services LLC with 18 feet spelled out is also on Facebook. And it's not hard to find people. You can Google search anybody and find them anymore. Come knock on my door at 907 South Jackson, Newton, Illinois. I'd love to sit down and talk with anybody, especially if you got any opportunities or, you're willing to take that chance. That's probably a lot of struggle right now. Finding good people that can do it. And, Larissa and I are all about that. If you've got drive and desire, I don't care how old you are or what your backstory is and your past and everything in between, man. If you're willing to show up every day, we have opportunities.
Absolutely.
That's great.
Well, one of these days, Garrett and I will have to come debrief with you on your front or back porch, depending on the wind. So awesome.
Love to have you guys. Love to have you. Now, you might have to bring your own chairs because we don't have very many with all the kids.
They're all taken.
Yeah. That's a lot of this is I've got a big family and I'm hoping that they each have an opportunity to take something over. If it's there, they want it. If not, and they can sell it, it's up to them. But
sure,
I would like to just give them a start, and I'm not just going to give it to them, but at the same time, I want them to understand that, if you work for it, you can have it.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Don't let anybody ever tell you that you can't do something. So
great advice.
Well, all you listeners out there, make sure you're subscribing to the CIBL podcast on whatever platform you consume podcasts on. Apple Podcast, Stitcher, Spotify. We should be on all of those. Also, while you're there, please leave a review. You can also find us on LinkedIn and Facebook and engage with our guests there as well. Josh, you've officially been CIBLized. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, guys. Had a ball.
Take care, Josh.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Central Illinois Business Leaders Podcast. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/CIBL Podcast. You can also follow us on LinkedIn. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. It's the civilized thing to do.